I'm VJ Hamilton and welcome to the Autoimmune RESET, the place for you to learn how to thrive with autoimmune disease and feel empowered to take steps to transform your health to feel better than ever. You can start making changes today to improve your health. So with every episode, my mission is to share with you simple ways to up-level your diet and lifestyle with key learnings from my own journey reversing autoimmune disease and inspirational stories from those who have reset their autoimmune symptoms and are now thriving in life. I suffered from autoimmune disease for over 25 years and now I live symptom-free, and I wish the same for you as well. So thank you for being here and sharing this time with me. Now let's get started. Hello and welcome to today's Friday 5. I'm your host VJ Hamilton. I'm a nutritionist, scientist and expert in autoimmune disease. And today I want to talk to you about 5 lessons people with autoimmune disease learn too late. And this goes from my own experience living with autoimmune disease symptoms for over 25 years. And I wish I had known about these areas before I let my symptoms get to an extremely severe point where my chronic fatigue in particular was impacting my way of life, and I hadn't realised what an impact it was having on my life until I started to regain my energy. So here are the 5 lessons that I am going to share with you today. The first lesson is to listen to your body. It is so easy to ignore symptoms, and I know I did. I would just push through. It was my motto in life to face any challenge, and even when I didn't feel my best, I'd find a way to get through the day. And the truth is, that's not how any of us should be living our lives. And it took me a long time to start observing the symptoms that I had and realizing that it wasn't normal. I remember in my A-levels, I would have to go home and sleep in the afternoon. And I got in quite a lot of trouble at school because I was missing classes, even though my parents knew that I wasn't very well. But because I didn't have a specific symptom, I was just chronically fatigued. I just felt like I was almost being lazy. I mean, I did get up and then do my homework and things, but at the time I didn't realize that I had chronic fatigue syndrome. And it was as that developed over my 20s, another 10 years, that I realized that it wasn't normal. It was only when my symptoms got more severe and I was spending weekends just sleeping. I was falling asleep everywhere. I was feeling like I had the flu. I would get up in the morning and just feel absolutely horrendous. I was cancelling lots of exercise classes that I'd book into when I was feeling more energized. And I just didn't realize that this was all part of the chronic fatigue syndrome that I had. So it is worth noting down the symptoms that you have. Do you have any skin issues? Are you having any headaches? These types of things are the types of symptoms that we live with on a daily basis, and you might be using medication to help with that, or you might just be dealing with it and pushing through. But listen to your body as much as you can, because it is giving you the signs when things are out of balance. And if we're not hearing them, then we can end up causing even more damage in our body and causing our symptoms to be even more severe. The next lesson is the importance of self-advocacy. And I know when I started to take my health seriously and I knew that I wanted to get better, that was in my early 30s, that I had to push to be seen. And because I'd had an autoimmune disease since 7 years old and it hadn't really got any better, but it hadn't got any worse at that point, I was able to at least use that when I was seeing my doctors, because they weren't really taking my fatigue seriously. I mean, when I first went to them in my 20s, they told me that I was getting up too early in the morning, and there were many other things that I was told along the way, but self-advocacy becomes essential in ensuring you receive the care you need. And when I first started making changes to my health, I worked with a nutritional therapist, and she guided me and was very forceful and said that I needed to go to my doctor and request these tests and tell them how I was feeling and the fact that I had 2 autoimmune diseases already. And that was how I was able to be referred to an endocrinologist endocrinologist, who was then able to do the testing that eventually ended up in me being diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome. But it took an awful long time and I had to push hard. But when it's our health, it's so vital that we make it our priority and that we are persistent and that we're advocating for ourselves as much as possible. And I know it's not easy, especially when you've got fatigue. I was chronically fatigued at the time when I was doing this, but I knew I had to do it. There's something within me that told me that if I didn't do it now, I was going to leave it too late. And I'm so glad I did. And I did get a lot of the testing that I requested. And my doctor worked alongside me. I was very lucky. They were having meetings about my case to decide who they were best to refer me to. And they started taking it very seriously. And I'm very grateful for that, looking back. But it got me to the diagnosis of chronic fatigue syndrome. And unfortunately, at that point, there wasn't much they could do. And that's when I started this journey of functional medicine and nutrition and taking the reins on my own health and making those changes in my diet and lifestyle, which eventually got me to the point of reversing my symptoms. Next is the power of a supportive network. And this is something that I didn't have throughout my life when I had autoimmune symptoms. Autoimmune groups just weren't around in the 90s and in the early 2000s. It was only when Facebook started becoming more popular and social media that I found more supportive groups around alopecia, around psoriasis, and I think that sense of community is vital when it comes to your health. And that is why I set up the Autoimmune Forum as well, because I wanted to set up a community where people could join and at least learn more about their condition, learn more about the foods they should be eating, learn more about the lifestyle practices that they should be incorporating into their life, similar to the journey that I've had, because I'm not saying what I've done is going to work for you, but putting together these different areas and therapies are important. And I know at one point I was only looking at diet and that just wasn't enough. And that's why in my community, the Autoimmune Forum, I'm not only sharing information about diet and nutrition, I'm also sharing information about different things that you can do in your life to make you feel better. So if you haven't joined my forum, the Autoimmune Forum, I would love to have you over there. It's over on Facebook, and next week I'm hosting a free challenge all around anti-inflammatory diet and living. So if you'd like to be part of that, feel free to join the group, and you can also be part of the free challenge. I don't run free challenges very often. I do love hosting a free challenge. This is probably one of the only challenges I'll be doing this year. So if you would like to be involved, then please pop over to my free group and join the challenge over there. The next lesson is the importance of diet and lifestyle. And I suppose this is a area that relates to all these different aspects, but it is important to understand the role of diet and lifestyle in these autoimmune conditions and not just rely on medical intervention. As much as that's important, the diet and lifestyle piece is huge. I still have people contacting me and asking me, can you do something about an autoimmune disease with nutrition? And the truth is, nutrition can play a huge part in transforming your health, especially if that is triggering inflammation in your body. When I'm working with clients, I'll be assessing both their diet and they'll send me a food log, and I'll also be looking at their lifestyle aspects as well to see what might be contributing to their inflammation, which is likely the reason that they developed an autoimmune condition. So it's just to have the faith in the fact that actually when you change your diet, you can make a huge impact on your health. I know I made changes to my diet on and off for a number of years, but I never really fully committed to anything, and I would just go back to eating a lot of sugary food and a lot of processed food and a lot of beige food. And there would be moments where I would really get on it and eat healthy and then just go back to that, and my symptoms always came back. And as I said, it wasn't until my early 30s that I started taking it really seriously, and I now use that knowledge in my daily choices when it comes to my diet and lifestyle. And that's what I want for you as well. And the final lesson is about acceptance and taking care of your mental health are crucial. Autoimmune diseases are often chronic, and coming to terms with that reality can be challenging. I do realise that. I know when I was 7 years old and I was diagnosed with alopecia areata, it was very upsetting. When the hair grew back, I felt so joyful that my life was back on track, and then it fell out again, and I realized that this was something that I might have to live with. And obviously I've been very lucky now that I have reversed the symptoms of that in the last 8 years. But before that, it was going through cycles of hair loss, and I had got to that acceptance point, and I'd got to the same point with the skin issues that I was having routinely, including psoriasis. I think just accepting that you may have a weakness in that area is also really beneficial, because you know you need to look after yourself. And I'm maintaining my health on a daily basis. I still go out to restaurants, I still socialise with friends, I still do all the things I love. But for 80% of my life, I am taking care of myself, because I think it's extremely important. And I know we have different demands in life, and you might not always be able to do that. But make sure that you have practices in your daily life, and that you have lots of nutrient-dense, anti-inflammatory foods in your diet as much as possible, because that means when you are off track, or if you have a stressful event, or if you eat something that's inflammatory, it's not going to have as much of an impact on you, because you're maintaining your health for the most part. And that's where I hope to get all of my clients, that they have the tools and the knowledge that they need to start to improve their health, but to continue improving their health and to maintain their health once they get to the point that they feel at their best. And isn't that what all of us want? I feel with the acceptance and mental health piece, that's where these communities can really make a difference as well, where you're sharing your experiences and hearing from other people, and knowing that it's not just in your head, or that other people are feeling insecure, or that other people have had those challenges. And once you share it and you hear back from somebody else that's been through the same experience as you, honestly, it helps so much. And I wish I had had that growing up, because I was just on my own, to be honest, and I didn't want to bother my parents with it, and I didn't want to bother anybody with it. I just dealt with it myself. And I feel like I look back and, that was very courageous of me, but at the same time, that little girl was hurting inside, and she had no one to share it with, and I don't want anybody to be in that situation. So just know that there is the support there now, and that you're not alone with these conditions. So they're the 5 lessons that I feel like everybody who has an autoimmune disease should know, and they're lessons, unfortunately, that I learned too late, but I do know them now, and that's why I want to share them with you. If you have any questions about anything that I've covered today, then feel free to pop over to my Instagram account, and you can send me a direct message over there. And as I said, I'd love you to be part of the free challenge that I'm running next week, the Anti-Inflammatory Diet and Living Challenge. I'm going to be setting a challenge every day, sharing an anti-inflammatory meal plan, and there'll be other worksheets and other things going on throughout the week, so that you get to the end of the week and you know what you need to do to maintain that anti-inflammatory diet and living, and hopefully see your health go from strength to strength. So I look forward to seeing you over there. If not, have a fantastic weekend, and I'll speak to you soon. Take care. Thank you very much for joining me today on the Autoimmune Reset. I really hope you enjoyed the discussion, and be sure to subscribe to the podcast so that you never miss an episode. And if you liked it, I would hugely appreciate a review on iTunes, as it helps me understand what you like about the podcast and to help share the information with more people. I'm excited to speak to you next time, and remember, you have the power to take the reins on your health. So keep the faith and celebrate the small wins. Until next time.